Hey guys, my name is Wildcard and welcome back to my channel. Super Rugby Round 7, the Victoria Rebels versus the Queensland Reds. A big win for the Reds and massive improvement from the Reds for their previous meeting where they barely scraped a win. In fact, they almost lost last time they played the Rebels at home 5 weeks ago, where Matt Tamura had a chance to win the game with the last penalty kick on the 80th minute mark, and he missed. So the Rebels, from almost beating the Reds 5 weeks ago to quite a bit of hiding out of this game. But it is not really a perfect performance from the Reds either. The Rebels did expose. So it's a bit of a win and lose for both teams. So both teams have improved on. So the Rebels didn't get worse. The Rebels improved from the last game. The last time they played the Reds, they couldn't even score a try. They didn't even get close to score a try last time they played the Reds. And all the points they had against the Reds in the first meeting was penalty kicks. So the Rebels were able to stay ahead with penalty kicks all the way till the last minute, and they almost won the game with penalty kicks. And the Rebels were not even close to score a try in that game. And this game, Melbourne were able to greatly expose the Reds' defense and score 3 tries against the Reds, which is a massive improvement in their attack options and attacking options and attacking, like, what would you call it? Attacking, I would say, potency, right? So it's massive improvement for the Rebels. And the Reds also improved as well. They didn't give away nearly enough penalties for Rebels to just get 20, 30 points on the ball from penalty kicks. But the Reds also improved, like, on their attack as well. So both teams have improved drastically. Just that the Rebels, I think, probably made more improvement than the Reds. The Reds were really good in the first time meeting, but the Reds made a lot of mistakes that allowed the Rebels to really capitalize on penalty kicks. Whereas this game, the Reds, in terms of performance, they simply reduced their mistakes, and the Rebels actually lifted a lot of their performance and actually exposed some of the Reds' issues from the first game. Like, the Rebels got dominated in the scrums in the first game, whereas this game, they pretty much held to the scrums all the way till maybe the last 10 minutes where scrums started falling apart. So the Rebels 4-pack really got dominated last game, whereas this game, the 4-pack held up much better. So overall, I think despite the score, it's actually a massive improvement for the Victoria Rebels. And the Reds still has a lot to work on. Despite the score, the Reds made a lot of defensive mistakes. And some of these defensive mistakes are just like, almost look like they're a bit off their games at times. But yeah, it's something that the Reds can definitely improve on. So especially if they wanted to, later in the year go up against some of the New Zealand teams like Crusaders, the defense pattern needs to be improved for the Queensland Reds if they wanted to, like, beat the Crusaders later on in the season. But yeah, it's an interesting game, quite entertaining. Let's go through the game itself. So right from the start, the Reds were kind of like putting the Rebels on the back foot. And there was a 5-minute line out for the Reds. And the Reds turned it into a maul. And the maul kind of got pulled down just on the try line, just like short of try line. And Tupou, the Tongan Thor, picks it up and just crashed over. He's a demigod. So the Rebels weren't matched for him. So straight away, the Reds were up 7 points to 0. And, like, right from the kickoff, so the Rebels, right from the kickoff, the Rebels did really well to, like, turn over the ball right from the kickoff after they conceded a try. And then they tried to spread out wide. And I'm pretty sure it was really weird. Instead of Tamura being at number 10, receiving the ball from Campbell, I think it was, what's his name? Oh god. I hate when you're recording and like you just forget the stuff. What's his name? Hodge. Reese Hodge was like at 10 position and he threw this really like weird loopy low pass that didn't even look like it was gonna go to hands. And to Tamura, and Paisame just read it, rushed up in defense, just picked up the ball, 60-meter run, try time for the Reds. Right away, the Reds were up 14 points to 0 and 5 minutes into the game. And at this point, you're watching this, you're just like, what? Oh no, the Rebels are just gonna fall apart. Like literally, you could not believe how quickly the points has came on for the Reds. And then a few minutes later, like 10 minutes later, the Reds were still applying a lot of pressure. The forwards were actually quite even in this match, but the backs at times the Reds were just a little bit more clinical than the Rebels. But anyway, 10 minutes later, there was like a center field scrum. Might have been I think there was center field scrum, or might have been a breakdown. I think there might have been either a scrum or just a ruck. Anyway, there was a ruck, and O'Connor was in the open side, and he ran up and Jock passed to O'Connor, and O'Connor, instead of running down open side, he ran around the ruck and came back to the blind side, and then he just like, and then he did a dummy, and the guy that was marking on the blind side from the Rebels just got completely sold, and O'Connor just ran through this massive gap right between the scrum right between the ruck and the first like blindside channel. He just ran straight through, and then the fullback comes up to cover O'Connor, and the O'Connor looks on the outside of him, and it's a Tongan Thor. The Tupou is like sprinting like as fast as James O'Connor, just on the right of him, and O'Connor passes the ball to him, and Tupou just sprints down like sprinted like another 20 meters, and he jumps over try line and scores a try. Second try in this one half. Like, when you're watching TV, he was just like, he looks so fast. He's 130 something kilos, 135 kilos. He looks so fast. I think there was a loose forward that was like chasing Tupou, and he just like gave up. And he, like the Rebels loose forward, I was like, trying to ran back and cover him, and he just like gave up because Tupou was just like too fast. Just unbelievable athleticism. So anyway, Tupou jumps over, and suddenly the Rebels are up the Reds are up 17 points, and I think O'Connor got the kick. Maybe he missed the kick. Did he get the kick? Yeah, O'Connor gets the kick, and suddenly the Rebels suddenly the Reds are up 21 points to 0. And it's like 15 minutes in. It's just like, what? Like, it wasn't looking very good. And so the Rebels kind of like settled a little bit. At this point, like, the whole place was just dead silent, right? You think, like, there's not a single person, like, in attendance. All the Rebels fans just, like, absolutely just dead silent. You can hear a pin drop. There's no, like, all the fans were just, like, super quiet. Finally, the Rebels were able to come back and get some things going at 29th minutes. And this is where the Rebels really exposed the Reds a little bit. Lumani, he got the ball. I think, like, Tamura just ran an angle, right? He ran, like, an inside angle. And then, like, Lumani just ran the same direction. They both ran into the same, like, gap. And, like, Tamura just, like, popped the ball to Lumani. And the Reds defense just, like, non-existent. He just ran straight through. Lumani ran straight through and scores a try. Straight under the post. And then suddenly Rebels back 7 points, right? And then the Reds are kind of like, okay, we're going to work this way back. We're not going to just give up. At this point, the Reds still look like they're like kind of taking the gas off. And it's like almost like had the feeling we're like, we got this. Like, we don't want to. It's like a massive lapse in like intensity from the Reds at this point. And a few minutes later, 10 minutes later, almost 10, like 5 minutes later, not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes later, it's pretty much a similar play where I think it's Lamuni again. Let me have a look. Who was it? Commentary. Let's see if we can find who he was with the try. The 35th. Yeah. Lumani again, it's almost like identical run. He again, like literally Tamura passed him, he just cut like an inside angle. He runs straight through the Reds defense. It was almost like no one was there. Maybe there's some issue because Reds did shuffle a bit of the back line a little bit. Paisami moved from 12 to 13. Pattaya moved down to the wing. So maybe there is a bit of... Maybe there's a little bit of like communication issue between who's defending the middle there. So that the backline got fully shuffled for the Reds. Like Jock Campbell went to the win. Pattaya went to the win. I think one of the players was like who was it? Hegarty, I think, went to the fullback and he's starting. Paisami's in center, but there was a bit of shuffle maybe in the Reds backline, and again, Lumani runs through the big gap and Hodge was in support. He draws the fullback, pop to Hodge, and Hodge just like strides through. He got tackled like there was a guy, I think it was Jock Campbell, grabs him at a foot. Hodge rolls on the ground and he like uses his momentum, put the ball over. Like, beautiful try for the Rebels again. And suddenly, going into half time, the Rebels pull back 2 tries out of 3. So the halftime score was 14 points to 24. The Reds had a penalty, so 14 points to 24. So suddenly the Rebels kind of pull back a bit. And the Reds were just like looking concerning. At this point, you're kind of thinking of the Brumbies game yesterday, where the Brumbies just like had a really big start with 4 tries and then just like gave up after halftime and didn't score a single point after the first half. And like, very, very concerning performance from the Brumbies. And then you're thinking, okay, maybe the Easter holiday is gonna affect all the top teams this year, and is the Reds gonna come out in the second half and not be able to score as well? So he came out second half. He definitely looked like the Reds were really taking it seriously. They really played like a lot more tighter right from the second half, start of the second half. And I think the Reds took the first penalty in the second half. No, but anyway, so it was much tighter in the second half. And then eventually, I'm pretty sure it was McRae who scored, but I'm pretty sure it was McDermott. He got the ball. And then there was I think there was a scrum, or maybe, and I think there was a scrum. McDermott kind of like ran through a little gap on the defense, close, and then he offloaded to Campbell, and then Campbell ran into the fullback and offloaded to McRae, and McRae scores under the post. It was just like good supporting run from the Reds team, and that really like settled the nerves a little bit for the Reds, because towards the end of the first half and going into that start of the second half, it was looking really shaky. Like the Reds were looking like the game could be going both ways. You could have looked like Rebels could be pulling a massive comeback here. And then when this try was scored, it like the nerves kind of settled a little bit. And then the Reds had another penalty, which was really far out, like 45 meters out. And it was really, I was expecting Reds to go for a line out. But they didn't. They went for another 3 points. They really showed that they're taking the game seriously. So the Reds took another 3 points soon after this. I think, 56 minute. So, and this was a 45, like a really long range kick for O'Connor. After that, the next try was from Campbell. And this was a similar try to the McRae run, where they kind of just like, I think they just did like a switch, and Campbell just managed to crash through like a gap. And then Campbell scores for the Reds at 62nd minute. And then on 66th minute, the Rebels hit back the Reds again. And this one, once again, very similar to the first half. The Rebels were like nowhere near in like applying pressure to score a try. Wells scored a try from, this was like a 40-45 meter try set up for the Rebels. Like the Rebels were just like applying a bit of pressure at halfway, and the Rebels are kind of like scurrying back to try to get in position, and they just literally spread the ball out wide. And I think there was a dummy runner, and they did a cut out. I think there was a cut out pass over the top, straight to the wing. And then there was like 2 Reds player against 3 Rebels on the side, and the fullback coming to cover, and it just looked like the Reds player just gave up. The players just gave up. So it looked really, really like really disorganized for the Reds. Like almost like no one was expecting to cover this massive, half of the field, and everyone's just like looking at each other like, oh, who's supposed to be like covering these guys? And yeah, look, I think it was Jock Campbell was there, and he didn't really make an effort to cover the outside guy, the guy on the outside, which was Wells. And yeah, it was really, really concerning. Once again from the Reds defense, and what really kind of concerned me a little bit is that no one looked like they wanted to make. It's like they just gave up. It's like they saw the ball go over the blind side, and there was like three or 4 people on the blind side, and they only had like 2 people on defense with a fullback sweeping around, and they just like, yeah, give up. They just gave up, and that like upset me quite a bit, because the last thing I like when I watch rugby, when I watch like the game of like any contest, last thing I want to see is people giving up. Yeah, I was quite upset with this try. Even if you are down by like 1 defender, you still should have tried. You should have given your 100% to try to make that cover. Even if you don't make it, at least you tried. Like they just didn't try. Like people just like throwing their hands up, like looking at each other. Like they just didn't even try to stop this try. That was very disappointing, and yeah, they need to fix that before the final, before the game next week against the Brumbies, because that's gonna be punished like really hard. I think it is largely because the Reds shuffled their backline a little bit, and everyone is probably not used to where they're supposed to be for this, for the defense positions. But still, I mean, just giving up because there was an overlap was pretty disappointing to see. And quite frankly, as a fan, I was a little bit, to say I was just disappointed, I was like, would have been an understatement. I was a bit angry, to be honest, to see that. I was a bit disgusted to see it, like players just giving up because there was an overlap. Anyway, the final try went to the Reds. The Rebels started putting on their substitutions. The Reds put on their substitutions, and the Rebels subs were just not able to keep up with the Reds. When the Reds scrum, the substitution like front rowers came on, the Rebels scrum really struggled. Like their substitution tight head prop and like the front row was just not good enough. Quite frankly, not really up to the level of Super Rugby. They probably should ran the whole like front row, like the starting front row for the whole game, maybe for the last 5 minutes or something. Like they should probably try to run. Yeah, they probably if I'm the Rebels, I'll probably just stick to the same front row for the entire game, because their reserves are not on the level of Super Rugby, period. The Reds reserves came on, I think every scrum when the Rebels front row just like pretty much lost every scrum. Full on penalty, was at risk of getting sent off. It was pretty bad. And anyway, the Reds, they've been trying this for the whole game, like a crossfield kick. So basically like a scrum penalty, something like a scrum penalty will lead to like Reds trying for a crossfield kick into the end zone. They did this like few times and failed a few times. And eventually, they did one where, yeah, I think it was might have been a scrum and the full-on penalty, after like 2 or 3 consecutive scrum penalties. I think the name, what's his name? 15. Bryce Hegarty, yeah. He at this point, Hegarty was playing 15 and James O'Connor came off. So Hegarty's got the ball. O'Connor tried a crossfield kick a few times and just went too far or bounced off, didn't quite get there. Finally, Bryce Hegarty did the exact same move, crossfield kick after a full-on penalty advantage, bounces, goes into the goal. The Melbourne fullback was into the cover and he kind of like knocks the ball back into his own end zone, and then the Reds player just jumped on it. And yeah, then the referee ruled it a Reds try for a fluke. So that was the last try for the Reds, and a big win for the Queensland Reds over the Rebels. Big improvements from the Rebels. Like the Rebels forward pack did really well in the first half, and the scrums were dead even. The Reds Maul didn't score any points this week, unlike last week where Reds scored I think 2 tries with the Maul against the Waratahs, whereas the Rebels didn't let any, like they did concede like penalties and territory with the Maul, but they didn't concede any tries with the Maul, so they were still like they can still improve on that. However, when the reserves came on for the Rebels, the 4-pack, not a lot of work for those fellas. And the Reds as well. I'm guessing they're trying up some things, but their backline really showed like big gaps in in their defense this game. And so it was a good win for the Reds. Oh, another thing before we go. The Rebels printed players' names onto their jerseys. Like, I don't know what, like... Seriously, like, it's like your merchandise sales is that bad? You need to start putting players' names on the jerseys to hopefully sell a few more? Like... I think this is like the only team in the world that's done it, right? I mean, I've never seen a team print players' names onto their jerseys. Because in rugby union, the player's jersey number represents a position on the field. And nobody owns that jersey. Like, everyone has to work and earn their spot in the team to get onto the field and to wear that jersey. So there's no name printed on the jersey, no matter who's, like, how good the player is. No one has, like, gets their name on the jersey. Like, you had, All Blacks captains like Richie McCaw pretty much guaranteed the All Blacks number 7 jersey. Like, I've never seen his name printed on any jersey, whether it was for the All Blacks, for the Crusaders, or anywhere. Like, it's just tradition. Like, it's a thing you have to earn every week by working hard throughout the weeks, support your team, and to earn that spot in the team. No one owns a jersey. No matter how good you are at the game, you don't own a jersey. So putting I was a little bit insulted when I see like Melbourne Rebels put all of their players' last names onto the jerseys. And I was like, okay, like that's not really something that I don't know. I hope they stop, because it's a little bit insulting, because that's not the spirit of the rugby. Like, it's not soccer where individuals are, or like basketball, like individuals are like praised and flaunts their skills around the field. The rugby is a game about team. It's about what's the best for the team. And it's about earning your spot in that starting 15. It's not about a guaranteed spot for Matt Tamura, number 10, every week, because he's the highest paid player in the team. No, it's about, no matter who you are, you have to work your butt off to earn that spot, to earn that jersey. And when you're done with it, you leave the jersey in a better spot than before you put it on. That's what rugby is about. It's about leaving a legacy on the jersey after you leave. It's not about getting the jersey and have your name put onto it and claim it to be yours. It's about you do your best that you can and leave the jersey, giving it back to the club in a better spot than you've put it on. That's the whole point of rugby. Please take it off, because it's insulting. Sorry, I'm actually like, I don't know. I might cut off the last bit, but I'm actually a little bit insulted seeing that, because that's just not the spirit of rugby. And if you want to, like, truly, like, quite frankly, if you came to me as a rugby fan and wants to sell me a jersey that has a player's name printed onto it, I would never buy it. I would never buy it. I would never buy a jersey that has a player's name printed on it for rugby union. Okay? Period. So if that's your way to sell merch, I would never give you a penny for that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I apologize for the little rant at the end, but anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching, and have a nice Easter, guys. Cheers.